Good day, good night, and welcome to the Two Solitudes Soccer Podcast for patrons only. Duane, everything's canceled. Everything is canceled except, I guess, my FIFA 20 Canadian Premier League created league, I guess, or something. Because I guess that's the only thing I'm going to do for 30 days.
Look, I have a habit that I only ever buy Football Manager every other year, and I bought it last year. So this is normally not the year I buy it, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna break that rule this year. In fact, I was on Amazon earlier today looking at PS4s, which I've never pulled the trigger on, but I'm like, I'm bored. It's been half a day.
The day is not even over yet. All right, let's recapitulate and let's do an update. And this will be, of course, Canadian Soccer League. What am I talking about? We're so weird. Things are so weird right now. This will be, of course, Canada Soccer focus, Canadian Soccer focus, but sports in general focus here. We don't need to brand. It is, of course, a Two Solitudes Soccer podcast, but it might go overboard Canada Soccer here. MLS USL from Championship to League One has been canceled so far. Well, suspended so far. Delayed preseason of Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL suspended, AHL suspended. We're talking about CONCACAF Champions League suspended, Canadian Premier League. Their training camps, some of them are just started, some of them are not, some of them are heading into the season in April. There's a task force it's being looked into. But everything else pretty much is canceled. And not just soccer, and not just sports, pretty much in life. Thank God for Netflix and HelloFresh or something.
Well, or video games or whatever your vices may be. And in some cases, they might be vices. It'll probably be a good time to buy stock in liquor companies, too. But
cannabis, with the legal cannabis, you're going to see a rise in sales for sure.
Yeah, there's a store called Tokyo Smoke that just opened up from just down where I am. And there's a lineup to get in today, so I don't know if it's related or not. But yeah, the only thing that really you didn't mention USL League One. It also is canceled, just in case you were curious. There is a Canadian team in that, and TFC2, so they are also going to be backed up for 2 weeks. They had not started to play yet. Major League Baseball announced a 2-week delay in the start of its season, which I think relates a little bit to the Canadian Premier League, because that's backing up into about the time that they would be scheduled to start. I'm having trouble imagining a scenario in which we're back in time for the CanPL to kick off in time right now, to be honest with you, because they have to have a camp. And the next thing to go, and right now, this is why it might happen, because right now, Kevin, the one thing that has not happened, at least in the government area that I'm in, is there has not been a ban on public gatherings. If there is a ban on public gatherings, that's going to eliminate the ability for teams to train together. Because that's a public gathering, right?
But there's been one in Quebec. It's not a ban. It's a recommendation by the François Legault government here, our premier, that it's over 250. No, thank you. That's the recommendation. So it's a gathering of over 250. So that's why all the sporting events, all the organizations, the salon, the exhibits, stuff like that are pretty much canceled. And if you're not sure, double check. It's pretty sure it's canceled. We're waiting words on CONCACAF for the Olympic qualifiers, but the first unveiling of the roster was supposed to be yesterday, and I was in close contact with Richard Scott in Canada Soccer all the way to today. And he sent me an email today, way before 1, but it was supposed to be at 1. Then he sends me an email saying the press conference is canceled, the unveiling of the roster is canceled, and hasn't been announced yet by CONCACAF. They did announce that the CONCACAF Champions League is suspended for now. And they say we're looking into other competitions, but as of now, but probably by the time you listen to this show, the Olympic qualifiers would have been postponed as well.
I don't know what they're doing with that. I exchanged with the CSA today, and all they said was that they weren't going to make any further statement on the Olympic qualifying today because they didn't want it to get buried with the other news, basically, was what it came down to. Whether that's that I think that they're waiting still on Olympic qualifying just based on my conversations, because you look at the amount of cases in Mexico right now, it is pretty limited, that if they can get a handle on things in the next week, then there would still be time to play that tournament. And it'd be good for the kids in that way, because at least they'd get all the attention now, wouldn't they? Because there wouldn't be much else going on.
The ratings on One Soccer are going to go through the roofs. You're gonna get
we'd be doing
thousands
live
and tens of thousands of people on one soccer watching CONCACAF men's qualifying.
and we'd be doing like live shows after Guatemala, El Salvador.
I'm telling you, Duane, Juan Guzman's son, the Salvador goalkeeper, he's amazing. Watch out for him. I'm telling you.
There you go. But yeah, the trends continue. It would look like those things are going to be postponed, we should say. The Olympic flame was lit today in Greece, which if ever there has been the IOC, an example of the IOC not being like self-aware, or today was it, as they like, oh, we're ready to take this around the world. What?
You know what's funny? You say that the flame was lit, but it was probably the less lit ceremony they've ever done. It was the most boring thing ever. Just people in gowns and, I guess, the sun, because there was no other people there. It was quite boring.
Actually, I can't help but thinking this is a Canadian soccer, but it relates to other shows, so we'll say it quick. I can't help but thinking that might have been a bit of theater by the IOC to do that today, but yeah.
Guess what? It is in Greece. It is where theater was born. So I guess it would make sense.
A little bit of like, we're still trying to get this thing out. That's for 5 rings next week. But but yeah, look, when it relates to Canadian soccer, as I said, the question will be whether or not we can get the CanPL season off ground, how it's going to affect if we delay the Major League Soccer greatly. They're going to have to start to use those midweek dates to fill time in, and then perhaps you're getting the Voyageurs Cup in danger. Although I think you can adjust that term. They already want to get Ottawa in, so it wouldn't shock me if MLS gets backed up more than the current 4 weeks. And I don't know, Kevin, it is a Canadian team, so we can't have this question here. When we talked this morning in the show, we didn't know it was 30 days that they were backing up. That's 3 games for TFC. I think most teams will lose 3 games in that. Do you have confidence that that's going to be it, or do you think that it might end up being longer than that yet?
Well, I think it all depends of this, and then this could be like, this show could probably be posted on any podcast feed that we have on the network today, right? It doesn't really matter if this is around the 8 or if this is soccer today. We're talking about just the virus and how it affects sports, but you're right. But I think from what I've gathered, and we've both been talking to professionals in the health industry, the drastic measures that have been taking place right now by Major League Soccer, Canada Soccer, well, CONCACAF there and other entities, is to mitigate the spread of the disease right now. And doing this mitigation process and making sure that it stopped the spread, we've seen it already make areas of this world better. It's working in Wuhan, and that's where it is based off. And if the spread is really stopped, then you can contain it, and it's not even in a situation 30 days later. So I guess that's where it comes from, and I guess why right now is the time to do it. You stop everything for 30 days, and then you have a better chance of not having the rest of the year affected, which I guess that's why we might not know about the Olympics until after this big thing. I guess everything is made to stop the spread of this disease, to make sure that the Olympics and the Euro will happen. But you know what? I've been hearing, and I was told by one source, so that's why I haven't got out and say multiple, like, yeah, it's going to be done. I've heard that 2021 for the Euro is already almost done. So that could be something that changes also. But I guess that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Euro is doubly complicated because it's multiple countries this year rather than a single.
And it starts in Italy. It starts in Italy, so there you go.
Yeah, you can move some games around, obviously, but you've got security concerns and everything else. It's a mess, as you said. Glad I didn't book a trip. I was thinking of it.
I know a bunch of people who are, like, one of my good friends is supposed to go to Paris in June. Is like, am I going to be able to go to Paris in June? Of course, we will always have Paris, but we might go to see Paris next year because it might not be safe to go this year.
Yeah, well, I do have a trip booked. It's just not soccer related. A trip booked for November, the late November. So I have a while yet before it's truly a concern. But we actually reached out to the trip people yesterday and said, "What's your policy?" And they kind of gave us a very dodgy no answer email.
Exactly.
Right
now, pretty much every travel agency around the world are answering by this. Yes, hello, this is Travel Agency. This is Karen speaking, and no, we are not refunding your cancellation. Any other question? Okay, good day. Thank you.
You take it up with the class action after the fact like everyone else. No.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's true. That's good. Well, act of God, insurance policy, null and void. We've learned a lot of things during this coronavirus. It reminds me of turf technology a couple of years ago.
Yeah, fair enough. Although this is even less fun to talk about, which is really remarkable. The one thing I will say about this, and this comes from not just me being like, it's just a flu type stuff. No, but from listening to a lot of people, there will come a time when we do have to get back to day-to-day life. This virus will never completely go away. It's like any virus. What will happen is you'll get some hive immunity to it. Hive immunity is a term when a lot of people, it's similar to when you get an injection for the measles or whatever. It makes so many people immune to it that the virus is around, but you no longer have the same problems that you did before. So eventually we will get to that point, and it's just a matter of trying to protect the most vulnerable until then. So I do think that it is important when we're talking about these delays, 30 days here, or whatever the number they put in it, that eventually there's a plan to get back to normal activity, because you can't just lock everything down forever. That's not actually going to solve anything in the long run. You have to get back to a point where society operates in a way that it's functional, right? And, there's a lot of things to consider that are way beyond the context of this sort of show. They're shutting down stadiums for public safety. That's great. But if you work in a stadium and rely on that to pay your rent, that's not helping you very much. How are those people going to get paid? Going beyond that, theaters. I bet you, Hamilton's playing here in Toronto right now. I'm guessing those shows are going to get canceled eventually, because it's 4,000 people in that little tiny area.
Broadway have already canceled the shows after today right now. Every representation from now till who knows when has been canceled on Broadway. So I guess it's going to come suit in Toronto also.
I'm standing in the Gladstone Hotel, which is a workspace, public workspace during the day, free. It's a great place to work if you're ever in the Toronto area and you need to work for free. It's a lot of creative people around, and they don't ever bother you or harass you. But I'm wondering how much longer this place is going to be open. And more to the point, once this workspace ends at 5 o'clock, it turns into a bar. And how long can those businesses continue to operate and pay their staff? There's a lot going on here.
So are you saying that if you don't know how to cook, you might not be able to eat soon? A lot of people are wondering that. I'm good. I can cook, so I guess come on over.
Yeah, I mean, look, and even way down the line, if this keeps going, I'm a non-essential staff. I'm a marketing staff. We're all concerned about this beyond sports. But sports does matter to us, and it matters to us because it's what makes our life livable. It's why we want to exist in this world, right? Like, if we lose this stuff and we just exist for the purposes of breathing, then what the hell's the point in a lot of ways? We're cavemen at that issue. So we do have to be working towards normalcy again. But I think the way you get to normalcy quickly is to shut things down now. That's what I said in the main show. It's all repeated here. If we shut things down now, then maybe we can get back to normal faster than we would if we tried to do half measures. So as much as it's been scary the last couple of days, and it's been fast moving the last couple of days, I think it's for the best. And I look ahead and think, okay, well, it's a month to the start of the CanPL season. So far, this shutdown might actually benefit that, so they start on time. As much as it's disappointing to lose MLS for a month, I can survive with that. Yeah. I think the Premier League should really get its act together. It is the only league still running right now, and as selfishly as I would like to wake up on Saturday and watch those games, they probably shouldn't be taking place either. Right. So we need to get this under control so that we can continue to have conversations about the thing that we love.
Okay, yeah, and here's an example that is very concrete, and it goes very far. Okay, so we know that the Prime Minister of Canada is self-isolating right now with his wife, because his wife was in contact with someone that does have COVID-19, and her test is not back yet. But just a couple days ago, she was in London in an event, and there's pictures of her with Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis Hamilton now, he's in Australia getting ready for the F1 Grand Prix. But if she was in contact with that COVID-19 patient, and if she had it, she gave it to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton gave it to all Mercedes-Benz team, and now they all have it, and there's actually a McLaren teammate who have it in Australia too. So shut it all down. I guess it is the point, because the ramification, and that's just one case. And you can see how we know that she's been in contact with other people, with her husband, who's the Prime Minister of Canada, and the Prime Minister of Canada shook hands, met a lot of people, and gave it. Same thing for other head of state. It's something that goes really quickly. We don't realize. And the other aspect to this, and you've alluded to it, and you've talked to people, like I said, in some health department, and I have also with Public Health Canada and other entities in the state authorities. Because of my role with the NASR this week, I had the opportunity and the chance to talk to a lot of different person. And one thing that came out is, it's a tip of the iceberg what we know. The amount of tests that actually were done, it takes 2 to 3 days up until today. And even then, it's still more than that majority of time to know if you have that virus. And that's just when you started to have the symptoms. You could have been infected before that and give it to who knows how many people. Right now, there's not a lot of tests. A lot of cities like here in Quebec, in my province, only 13 cases in Quebec that we know of. It's always that we know of that have been tested and resulted. There's probably a fair amount of the population that are carrier of the virus, not giving it to people. Like maybe, but not symptomatic, I mean. But you might have it and give it, and some people will be symptomatic. So it is, of course, way more concerning than we were led to believe weeks ago, which I guess is where we were all wrong as a society. We should have been more careful 3 weeks, a month ago, when it was maybe more time to be more careful.
Yeah, and the reaction then could have been less dramatic than it is now, right? I mean, not to tip our own hat, but we did talk about this more than 3 weeks ago, so it's not that it wasn't on people's radars or it wasn't out there for the information you wanted. But I guess as a society, we're always inclined to not believe that bad things can happen until they're on top of us, right? Even if the evidence is there. Well,
right. So if I look at the sky and oh my God, there's a second sun coming towards us. Oh wow, we're gonna be. Oh wait, that's not a second sun; it's an asteroid. Then we're exactly. If you wait too long and you admire it, you're just gonna die watching it.
And we will continue to do this show, and I think that you. Both of us feel the same way, that we will continue to try and add some both information as it relates to it, and we'll try and keep information not just sports related in the next few weeks, but also just general about anything that is relevant to public safety, as long as we get it out there. So this platform's as good as any, but also to create a little levity in this, because we all need entertainment, and that's why we're mourning this. We're losing our entertainment, our preferred entertainment right now, and that's part of my big issue today. The games, I think I can figure out how to occupy myself on a Saturday morning, on a Saturday afternoon. I can. I can go, the weather's going to turn. I can go to the beach. I can swim. I can do lots of things. I can get through a month without soccer. But the problem is going to be all of the emotional energy I spend on it every week. So hopefully we can, through our main show here on our supplementary shows, provide you with a little bit of emotional break where we talk about maybe things that happened in the past in Canadian soccer. Maybe we try and get some interviews here with some Canadian soccer folks, some, like I said, some old athletes, things like that. That's our plan.
A lot of people are not busy for the next 30 days, so we can get them on the phone for once.
Yeah, and it's not like you can spread a disease over the phone. So that's what we're going to do. And
I hope so. Can you imagine? That's the next step. Like a phone transmittable disease. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be good for podcasting. But that's a good point. That we can maybe get a lot of people on the phone and just talk for once, and not necessarily be bogged down by, they lost 3-0 yesterday. What does it mean in the overall scheme of things?
Yeah, and I think I had already been planning to maybe do a 25 greatest games of Major League Soccer history. So I might think I could explore that this month, a little bit more time, find the old games on YouTube, watch them, and write about them or talk about them, stuff like that. So we're going to keep trying to provide you with some entertainment, is what we're saying there, while providing you with information around how this affects your favorite sport. But it's sad. It's a sad day. I compared it to 9/11 this morning, not in the loss of life. That's clearly not what I mean. But in terms of this seems so shifting. It shifts. It's so disruptive.
Here's
It's a disruptive day.
a way to exemplify that. We didn't text each other what we're going to talk about this morning, right? Usually we always I wake up, I have a text message from Duane, or I've already sent him one saying, oh yeah, this makes sense for today. What do you think we should talk on soccer today? Today there was none of that. All the way to 10:30, we didn't even think we needed to tell each other what we're going to talk about today. That tells you what you need to know. That we're there's only one thing on our mind at this point. There's only one thing you can talk about at this point, or hear about, or whatever. It is try to watch every single channel right now and try not to hear the word coronavirus or COVID-19 for the heck of it. Try.
No.
You could try. You won't succeed.
And soccer is way down the list of that. But before we go, we are trying to get a hold of the CSA. There are a couple really major factors to end this with a little concrete talk about what this means. The Olympic qualifying is obvious. Yeah. The other one is that those March friendlies, they've got to be gone. I don't know how they take place at this point. Oh, maybe behind closed doors.
Oh, even then, Duane, if Major League Soccer and all the professional leagues say no, who are you to have a friendly? Why would you put your players in that position? At that point, you got to cancel. Well,
and FIFA may.
And FIFA might just cancel it outright. You're right.
Yeah, there will be no games sanctioned during the break. I made a half joking, half serious post about whether CONCACAF wants to reconsider the format now that they've taken another opportunity for points away. Let's be serious, they won't do that. But it means basically that, what it means is that we start to look forward to whether or not this is going to affect the start of World Cup qualifying proper. That might be the one way that they would. That's probably the more likely way they adjust this, is they adjust the hex schedule and then provide the September window as an opportunity to get points that you would have gotten in March. But at any rate, look, there's a lot of stuff that we need to find and learn about this. And it's sad. I want to talk about this show was supposed to be about the under-23 roster and previewing the Olympic qualifying. That's what this was supposed to be about. An event that I'm looking very much forward to, or was anyway.
Which we will still don't know who made the team. It's been 24 hours, and I'm wondering if Jane Pentimus is actually the goalkeeper, which he should be. Or now it's a moot point. There might not even be any Olympics. But that explains you my week. Since Monday morning I woke up, it's been a whirlwind of a week, and I covered a game on Tuesday, and it feels like it's like 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, good thing you got to a couple games this year, because I got to do one game. It was the longest stretch I'd gone without doing a live game. It was 4 months or whatever. It's from October 17th until March. What was the last weekend? Whatever, March 7th. Yeah. So whatever that amount of period is. It's going to be another month until the next one now. So here we are. What are you going to do?
I got Wednesday morning, I woke up, started sneezing. I'm like, are you kidding me? So, come on. I'm not even that conspiracy theory minded, usually. So anyways, it is an interesting time. You mentioned the hex. That is one repercussion that we're waiting. We're waiting for the confirmation from CONCACAF that it is canceled in Guadalajara. Apparently, we've seen some Spanish language outlet from Guadalajara mentioning that it was canceled. We're waiting for the official word from CONCACAF and FIFA. Let me just look at my emails before we say goodbye, because all day long, every few minutes, one email after another with the words suspension or cancellation in it have just dropped in my inbox today. Just like Honduran players playing in the CONCACAF Champions League at the 80th minute, dropping everywhere,
There you go.
But until then,
cancellation yet.
Nope, no cancellation on the CONCACAF side for the Olympic qualifying as of right now. But it'll probably come in the next few hours. Until then, make sure you follow our social media. Soccer Today will be live 11 a.m. That will not change. We will have maybe more things. It depends. It's all in flux right now. But Soccer Today 11 a.m. is available all the time. Thank you for your support here on Patreon. We wanted to make a special show for you. We'll continue to make special shows, and we're reevaluating which show should be where as of right now, depending on the need in the next 30 days and what's going to happen. All I know, Duane, and I'm not even kidding, is later tonight, I'm going to fire up the old PlayStation, which I haven't since months and months ago, and I'm going to play live with people watching me. Why not?
There you go. Got 20 shows before there'll be another game to talk about. So Start firing off some topic ideas, folks. What do you want to listen to? In the meantime, Kevin, I'm going to let you, as always, say goodbye.
Until then, you can follow Duane on social media at 24th Minute, myself at Kev Larme, and this show at Soccer Today SPN. The Two Solitudes Soccer Podcast will be available once a week, as always, in our Soccer Today 11 a.m. Monday to Friday on our main network. Our podcast feeds have all been updated, but if you want to find the main feed, also look for SPN anywhere you find your podcast. But as always, until next time, I want to say have a great soccer, but that's one thing that's going to be hard for people to have is a great soccer. But how about wash your hands, wash your phone, and be safe.